but you could. Hello. I'm Doug Hamilton. I am a trustee for the Boulder Library District. I got involved with the campaign to create the library district. So if like you're from Gun Barrel, if you were at the King Super in Gun Barrel, I sat out there like every weekend for a year, and then or almost every weekend. And the reason I wanted to be a library trustee was that I was I want to preserve this institution for the library, and I love the library, and I wanted to preserve it for future generations. And so so welcome to our training, or this is the Q&A session. I have like 6 slides, and I'm a ex officio member of the selection committee for choosing the next trustee. I have no vote. I don't get a say in who they pick. There's 2 openings for trustees. One with a 5-year term, replacing Johnny, and one with a 4-year term, replacing Jennifer Yee, who is not here right now, but she is resigning from the board, to take another position. So the selection committee is Commissioners Levy and Locheman, and also Councilwomen Adams and Marquise. And then the ex officio members are me and Benita Duran, who just joined us. So here's the timeline. On March 4th is the application review. I should just put the application deadline is February 29th. So make sure you get your application in by February 29th. And I think it's at like midnight. So, but confirm that with me. And then March 4th, we review with the selection committee. March 19th and 21st, if you're selected, they usually will pick, I don't know how many people, since there's 5 or 2 positions, they probably will pick 4 or 5 people to interview, I guess. We haven't discussed that, so I don't know. And then April 5th, they will select. I put May 1st, your term begins. Actually, I think your term doesn't begin, Benita said, till May 15th or whenever our first regular meeting is of that year. And then you'll be sworn in. Next slide. Yeah. Here's why trustees are important. A lot of this is from, this is kind of like what we really do. Our 2 jobs are hire the library director, confirm the budget. And then also, so we have the custody, we're in charge of the library. Custody of the library property, hire the library, secure adequate funding, and practice responsible fiscal management. So we approve the budget every year, and then we review the budget. Like later, we'll have a treasury report to see how much money we have and how the spending is going and what we're going to spend money on, and we make all those kind of larger fiscal policy decisions. We have the authority to enter contracts, although we've delegated some of that authority to the director. We maintain the current map of the service area. That won't change, I don't think. I drew that with a few other people, but when we did the ballot measure. So if you want to look at that, I think it's probably on our website where the service area is.
And there's a map right over here.
And there's a map right over here. So it includes parts of the mountains and Gun Barrel and, up to Superior almost. We file an annual report of statistical data with the state library. We've delegated that to our library director, but he would present that to us. And that's a statutory requirement that we have to do. Plan for the future, and then we promote the library services. So hopefully all of you are here because you love the library and want to preserve the institution. And so that's part of our job. The time commitments, it depends on what you get involved in. So we do have committee assignments that people will volunteer for, but it's about 4 to 10 hours a month, depending on how much. Right now we're meeting twice a month. Last year we were meeting once a week, which was pretty intensive. but we were starting from zero. We got seated in May, and we went live with the library district on January 1st. So we had to put all the infrastructure in place, IT systems, HR systems, benefits packages, payroll. So we broke away completely from the city. So we had a large, responsibility. Right now we're still in the sort of working board mentality, and so we do have a day-to-day working of the library. Okay, so we do hybrid meetings. As you can see, we're online. Yeah, you can online, and also we're online, and also we'd like you to be here in person if you can, but just so we meld as a team, at least for most of the meetings. But we do have a hybrid option, and then you do get like ad hoc committee assignments. So like facilities is one that I kind of am on, although, and then we might, if we're going to do a special project or create a special committee, like an audit committee or something like that, to go through. So the only standing committee currently in the board is the two standing committees, and they are finance and what's the other one? Governance. So I'm not on either of those committees, so that's why I don't know the names. So next slide, please. Yeah. What's cool about being a trustee is you get to be a steward of an organization that's beloved to the community. So like pretty much everybody loves the library. So, that's pretty cool. We got great staff to get to work with. We protect the intellectual freedom of the community. So like on the campaign trail, we'd say that, we're the like living room of the community. So, our parks and open spaces are our playgrounds, and then we're the living room. So that's pretty cool. You get good boardroom experience, like, fiscal management and audits, and, how do we be good fiscal stewards of the taxpayers' dollars? And this is kind of like what we, as a board or as a library and hope, we want people that love the library and its mission, and have expertise in I don't know what it said, executive expertise, like boardroom experience. So legal, Benita, this was the legal kind of stuff. Well, we have enough lawyers actually on here. I probably don't need more lawyers, but finance, HR would be great. Community, if you're engaged in other parts of the community, that would be awesome too. So IT, governance, leadership, that kind of stuff. These are just important documents as you're applying, or if you get an interview when the selection committee picks. Definitely want to know what the master plan says. I think all of us as trustees mentioned the master plan in our interviews, because this is really what we're building the library to be, because this was the last time we had massive community engagement to create the vision for the library. And out of the 2018 master plan was what the library district campaign and measure came from. It was the way to secure finances. So right now we have a 3.5 mil levy property tax that funds us, and that's our sole and only funding source. And our budget for 2024 was 22.2 million, or no, wait.
No, I think 21 point something, but
21 million, sorry. And so out of that, we're building all the programs that the community told us that they wanted in the master plan. And so, and what they voted on in the library district measure, there was 5 or 6 specific things that were put in front of the voters to vote on. And so, for me personally, as a trustee, I want to fulfill that campaign promise of what we what we promised the voters. So I'm speaking personally. Our trustee bylaws, I mean, kind of a boring document, but a good thing to understand. That I doubt you'd be asked about that in the interview. Our library trustee handbook, that's kind of the expectations are laid out in there. The budget, you can go see it right now. Our budget is very high level because we switched from the city system to a new system that we've adopted, and we're getting all the data in there. And the city system was a little more, it didn't have line items like we will have in the future. So like it was a little more esoteric than, or not, unclear than what we want for the future. And then our advanced planning agenda. So you'll see what we have listed for the next 6 to 8 months, I think, as through June right now, of what we're going to be working on day in and day out. So all right, that's all my presentation. So
Can I add one thing on the handbook?
okay,
So the handbook also includes a high-level summary of all the pieces of the library and how the library works. So that's a real good way to kind of get oriented to the organization.
yeah, and you can also go, other resources are the State Library Trustee Association. They have like, you can, if you just Google Colorado Library Trustee Handbook, it's like one of the first things you can click on, and it has a lot of the stuff I said here. Yeah, I didn't include stuff like, we don't make decisions up here about personnel at the library, except for the library director. We don't make decisions here about, the books and specific books and things that they carry in the library. That's not, something we make. The library staff handles that. Yeah, and we are just trying to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. That's and deliver great services to our community. Also, the library the library board can only provide library services. So we can't do other things. We can't use the money to start a kitchen or whatever, so, yeah, okay. So you have questions? Anita, do you have anything you want to add? Since you're also another member?
I have a really quick question before we move away from the slides.
Okay.
Can we get a copy of the slides with all those handy links?
Yes, it's on the website.
Okay.
We just posted
Yeah,
it
it's
today.
posted under the state for
Yes.
this meeting materials.
Yeah, and probably the best thing to look through, if I would be the master plan. And because that has sort of, I wasn't involved in that process, but that has all of the sort of community input. That's where the gun barrel branch came from. That's where all of these services kind of came from. So, yeah.
Do you have a plan? Will the trustees handle any updates or modifications to the master plan?
That is scheduled, probably not won't be during my term. We'll probably start it in 2026.
2026, we'll start again. Like I said, the expectation, and I believe is accurate, that the board has, is that everything is underway by the end of this year. And then we'll have ready to get started again in 2026.
Are there any big changes that you're looking to make to the master plan now that it's with the district?
Changes, well, I don't know. Our plan is to execute on everything the community asks for at this point. And I don't think anything is not on the list. But as far as going forward, I think we have a lot to talk about, right? So the board really needs to define how they want to strategize with the city. We always did 10-year plans. Those plans were predominantly capital in nature, but that's not necessarily what the Board of Trustees for the library district is going to want to do. So we'll have to investigate that fully. Like, how is it you want to strategize? Is it 1-year plans, 3-year plans? Do they solely capital, or are they fiscal? How do you want to go about it? Yeah.
Some of that we're talking about actually in a few weeks at our retreat that we're going to have as a board, which will be available online if you do. But like, I think that's kind of the questions. Some of these questions as a new board, we're looking, for that. We'll be forming some of that as we go forward, right? So, because we don't have a tradition, right? Because we're only 1 year old, or not even 1 year old. So, I think, what the ballot measure allowed us to do and the tax money is accelerate a lot of the things in the master plan. So, or maybe not accelerate, but adopt many of the measures in the master plan. So I think that what you'll see is, okay, now we fulfilled X percentages of the promises, what comes next? And that's kind of a discussion as a board and with the community that we will probably have.
How will the district work with the community to get that input?
Yeah, so I would imagine it'll be a large engagement. So for the master plan that we did with the city, we did it in a different way that most city departments do. So I think we had close to 3,500 people participate in focus groups, surveys, get-togethers. There were some bizarre things that the staff proposed, and we did them all. Jennifer and I made waffles for 2 days straight, and I think in the gallery, just for anybody who would sit down and talk with us. We did haircuts, we did everything. So the process would be one of our defining, right? So, but I think the board has made it pretty clear that they believe in a very robust community engagement process. And so Maria is our new community communications and engagement manager, and you will be doing, I think, a lot more systemic engagement, so regular engagement rather than simply waiting for once every 10 years. And I'm hopeful that will partly inform a bigger process as well.
Could you go back to the link, the page with the documents that are linked there? So one of the other things that I think is important that sort of reflects the time that we've spent in the past year is the IGA, the agreement with the city, because that's where we've spent most of our time in this first year. And so I would encourage you to look at that document that should be on the website. I would, suggest that maybe it's one of the important documents, just so you'd see, what that transition has been like, with the city, and this transition that has led to, what the district budget is, to give you a sense of where that leads into the future as well.
Does that include how the buildings are managed and who owns what?
At least during this transition
The
time,
IGA?
yes, yeah.
Is that's a link on the website?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the buildings that we're sitting in the IGA, if you have a question about that, they're owned by the city and we lease them from the city for $1 or something like that. And
It's not currently on, we didn't post the leases, Johnny, if that's what you're looking for. So the leases are not currently posted, but if you would like, we can. I think
Yeah.
probably post all the leases.
but the IGA is up there.
The IGA, we should
But
have.
IGA, just gives you that sense of, of that relationship. And, I
Yes.
was just thinking about just in terms of the time where this group has spent its time.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
in this transition phase of
Does it
the
talk about staff, how many staff there is?
No,
Is the staff of the library district now?
well, we probably have 72 and we're moving to about 100, right? So
Over, yeah, so
Yeah.
the number now, I believe, is around 90 FTE full-time equivalents.
It's about 114 people.
Yeah, so a lot of people, but we've had to bring in, we are in the process now of bringing in a facilities team, a communications and engagement team, finance, HR, all of those teams we are building over, and that's happening right now. But by the time we get to July, I think we will have added the majority of the staff that we're planning to add for the time being. And I think that number is around 140.
140 total staff?
by July. So but that'll be, operating, that will be to open the Carnegie buildings. We're, in South Boulder, the Reynolds Library was not open every day a week. It'll be reopened, it's to increase, as we promised in the ballot measure to, so the staff, the hours were cut and the staff was cut in 2020 with the COVID recession or COVID cuts. And so it's to restore those hours that the community lost back. So that's one of the
How
questions.
many buildings are there total?
5, right? Yeah, 5.
Well, how many belong to the district?
Oh, none.
So
Yeah.
they belong to Boulder City then?
Or one belongs to a landlord. Yeah, 2 belong to a landlord, I should say. And then
Yeah.
the gun barrel, yeah, so
There's nothing in Gun Barrel.
not yet, not yet. So soon, so sooner than later, I should say, not too soon, but in 2025. Yeah,
And then as far as the appointment process goes, how was the initial Board of Trustees appointed?
pretty much the same way. There was 2 people from the city council, 2 people from the commissioners. They met, they outlined a process. That's called before by state law. And then we applied and they did the same sort of narrowing to interviews and then selection.
I apologize, I missed the first slide, I think, but
Yeah.
there,
So
so
with ratification by both bodies.
Then there has to be both, yeah, sorry, after the committees select, it has to be ratified by both parties.
okay.
Correct.
So the committee.
You go back to the first slide.
Thank you.
There you go. Second slide, yes.
Okay, great. This is gonna answer every question that I have.
Yeah, so there's two positions open, one for a 5-year, one for a 4-year. Here's the folks that are involved. I should put, I didn't put that down. February 29th is when the applications are due.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then May 1st is not exactly when the term begins. It's when it's when we're sworn in, I guess, as trustees, which will be at the first meeting.
Are the interviews in person or on Zoom?
Hybrid. Yeah, so I mean, it's better, I think. We actually decided last week we wanted to do more hybrid because.
Oh, I think she asked interviews.
Oh, the interviews are all be online. Yeah. I'm pretty much 90, we haven't just talked about that, but I'm 90% sure they'll be online. That's how ours work. And they'll be recorded, you know. So, and I think the interview questions are in the packet.
There were draft interview questions. You guys may change them.
Okay, there were draft interview questions that maybe they're online or not, maybe not.
They're in the packet there.
They're in the packet. Okay, yeah.
Which meeting do you remember?
Basically, the interview questions from last year.
Yeah, and they would be in like one of the early January meetings if you go to, there's the interview question. So yeah, you're not even surprised about the interview questions unless they change them. You know, and you can go back and look at the public meeting of the selection committee to determine whether they've changed the questions or not. So,
Interview questions are in a packet.
yeah, they're in our board packet either from the 16th when we met. Or one of the last 3 meetings or something,
30th of January.
or the 30th, yeah.
One, I don't know this, but I'm guessing that anyone who is scheduled for an interview will get the questions beforehand.
Probably.
That's what happened with us. We got.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We got the questions before the.
Yeah, I think there was like 5 or
There's like
6
a-
questions, but they only like picked 2 or something.
Mhm.
But they may be more time because I don't know how many, like, you know, they were trying to select 5 people, so or 7 people last time, so they had to like, you know, interview more than that. So now it's only 2, so it's a little bit
And so
better.
just to be clear, the interview questions that are in the packet were the questions we had last year.
Okay.
So they may change,
I'm sure that if they change, they'll tell you.
for sure.
How many applicants do you anticipate?
I'd say probably, if we had 10 or 12, that would be, I think we'll probably get 10 or 12. That's my guess. It's fun. And like, so another thing is like, just as a trustee, like, hopefully you're spending time in the libraries. Like I come in, you know, and sit in the library, like almost at least once or twice a week, you know, not like just go sit and see what's happening, you know, especially in this main library. And, you know, we're doing some cool stuff. We're gonna hopefully get the cafe up and going here. That's my personal, like, because I used to sit there and drink coffee a lot, so now hopefully it'll be open so I can drink coffee again soon. And we expanded the collections budget by 63%, so we're gonna have more books and materials, and we got lots of stuff going on.
You have our theater next door, right?
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, and we're scheduling to open that up to the public in
Is there
July
staff
1st.
For that?
We're hiring them currently. We have one technician currently, but we'll be hiring 2 additional staff members to manage the space. And the opening date is July 1st, and it'll be free and open to the public. So we used to charge for space. It was not a big revenue maker, and it was just a means by which people didn't use it because it cost money to do it. And so we're going to make it free to the public, so anybody can book it for a birthday party or a lecture or show a movie or whatever it is you want to do. And we'll have technicians to help facilitate it. But we won't, marketing, we don't do a great job of now anyway, but that's all gonna change. But it's, but yeah, but it'll be free, and then, you advertise
You're planning
yourself.
on productions.
We are not, we're planning on whatever the public asks, whatever they want to do, they can do there. And so you could come in,
Like a reservable space.
Yeah. It'll be just like another meeting room. It just happens to have
A public space.
200 seats and a great projector and a good sound system and a stage and a really nice piano. So.
One thing I should probably give you like the cadence of like what our weeks and stuff, the days are like is usually on the Friday before the meeting, we get a packet with all of the things we'll go over. Hopefully you've read and prepared your comments prior to that, and then you can come to the meeting ready, or you can submit comments. We have to be careful about open meeting laws. You can only submit like kind of scheduling or non-open, and you can't invite discussion on email, but you can kind of say, can you add, this to an agenda or that to an agenda, or you could ask the president to do that. And then you review it, and then you might have an action item afterwards. You might have to follow up with some staff or with, other trustees. We can't meet more than 3 people as trustees without a record, 2 people, sorry, without a publicly noticed meeting like today. Let's see. And then you might, like the budget and finance committee, I believe, meet weekly. So if you're on that committee, if you sign up to be the secretary / treasurer.
Treasurer.
Sorry, I got rid of the secretary last week. Just the treasurer, and you might have a more of a time commitment, or if you're selected eventually for an officer position, you're obviously volunteering to spend more of your time doing this, right? So but for me, it's last year was a little more busy. I probably spent 15 or 20 hours a month, where Johnny might have spent 110 hours a month, or Benita thing, or more hours. Definitely Sylvia, a lot of hours, because she was, we didn't have a bank account. So we had like $18 million or $17 million. So we had to get a bank account to put $17 million in, right? So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the stuff that we had to do. Go ahead.
Well, I would just like to always know who's in the room. And so I just wondered if we could all introduce ourselves so people would know who we are as well, and if folks wouldn't mind. And my name's Benita Duran, and I'm a trustee.
And our vice president.
My name's Laura Legan. I'm an interested potential trustee.
I'm Peter Barler, and I'm like Laura.
Great.
Julie Trumbler, I'm an interested applicant and retired museum curator.
Great.
Andy Saylor, a potential applicant. I also sit on the Library Foundation board.
Thank you.
Jenny Robbins, interested applicant.
Johnny Teeter, outgoing trustee. He will be replacing me.
Celia Seaton, staff.
Board secretary.
I have another question. when you're done.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Jennifer Ferris. I'm the Director of Business and Administration.
I'm David Farnan. I'm the library director.
Maya Chapmos, Communications.
And I'm Kara Brand, one of the trustees.
And same people, I'm also on the trustees.
Thank you.
Yeah, not to spend too much time praising our staff, but like they really worked their rear ends off last year because they had to work 2 jobs, like for the district. I know especially Jennifer and David and some others, and they still were city employees, so they had to, had 2 masters, I suppose. And we like set up a whole company almost, in a year, in 7 months. And so I'm pretty proud of that. So I'm proud of you guys. And so that's pretty cool. To me. Go ahead. What was your question?
You're the library director. You're also a trustee.
No, I'm not a trustee.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just, so the Board of Trustees has 2 employees. I am one. The other one is their lawyer, their legal
Okay.
representation. So they hire myself and the attorney, and then they entrust me to hire the remainder of the staff.
Okay. Is there an accountant that your treasurer works with?
Yes. We have an accountant staff.
We have a finance accountant on staff
Mhm.
who's I don't know, what's her title?
Finance Manager.
Finance manager, and then we have an outside auditor. So the outside auditor, again, is a firm that the Board of Trustees hires, and the outside auditor will do our audits each year. And at this point, since we're brand new and there weren't a whole lot of transactions last
You
year,
have to have an audit.
well, they're.
We did have to have an
audit.
Yeah.
But they're also advising us on the ways in which to set up our financial system to hopefully avoid any, errors at the end of year 1 where they say, like, you should have done it this way. We're having them help us set the thing up so that we have the right,
The audit will
according to
begin
government standards.
in April,
Mhm.
right before you're seated, and then continue while you're seated, and then or if you're seated, and then, yeah. There is one more committee, quote unquote, it's like assignment that I didn't mention. There is a library foundation. 2 of our trustee members are also advisors / board members by our charter to the Library Foundation, which is a charitable 501c3 thing, and people can volunteer to do that. But they also raise funds through a 501 nonprofit for the library.
Is that a new
No,
organization?
it's 50 years old, I think. Yeah,
It's their 50th year, yeah.
50th anniversary.
So they raise funds for you in addition to the mill that you have.
Correct, yes, yeah, and they did, prior to the district being formed, actually, the Library Foundation funded almost all the programs out of the library.
The foundation's combined contribution has been about $10 million over the course of about 50 years. And that accelerated a great deal over the last 10, where they contributed probably around 4 or 5 over the last 10 years. They committed to a certain amount each year and met it. And so now that the district has been formed, the foundation is also looking at a new strategy, and they're looking at a lot of different things in terms of pursuing grants and capital funding, which they'd never done really before.
Yeah, they got us recently a $750,000 grant for the North Boulder Library.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you have members on the district board that are also members of the foundation.
Correct, right, currently I'm the volunteer member of the foundation board, and
You're not a trustee?
I am a trustee.
You are.
Yes, I'm the trustees representative, along with Sylvia Werba, who's will be here in a little bit.
So our bylaws specifically say that 2 members of the trustees are members of the foundation board.
I see.
And they are voting members.
Yeah.
It's a completely different mission than this, but I do say that's part of our bylaws, so I should probably say those are another position that we have to fill. So, but that's a funner. They kind of have, I guess they have to work, but they also have to raise money and have fun too, so.
Yes, raising money is really fun.
Yeah, if you have any more questions, like, you know, you can always email me the questions or email Benita. We probably would, if we respond to them, would post them again on the website so that the benefit of all the applicants. It's a cool job. Yeah. You know, you were in Girl Scouts. I was a Girl Scout leader for like 3 or 4 years. And so, yeah, it's kind of, you don't get paid. It does take time, but it is rewarding and it's cool. So,
Thank you for your time here.
Yes.
yeah,
Thanks for making time.
yeah. So, yeah, that's all I have. If you guys have no more questions, if you do, you can email them or you can have me grab some pizza on your way out, or you can stay for the next the meeting. Yeah, so
Yeah, the meeting will start at 6, so.
Is this where you meet every time?
yes. Yeah, or online if you can't make it. I was supposed to go to Utah, go skiing,
Oh.
and I was like, I don't know if I can. I just went to Vail, you know, so I.
Too much information.
You were sweet. Tummy hurt from all the rich food you had eaten.
Cold. Correct.
They are.
Yeah, they have to be. Do you usually have attendees?
We've had like 2 attendees.
Okay.
Yeah, like usually it's it's the Library Foundation executive director will come to our meeting, and we've had a couple of people from the public, but not often.
You post them? Or
Yeah, they're all posted.
Are they live on the
We
website?
live stream them too. I don't know if are they live streamed?
Yeah,
You can join.
there's a link on the website.
Yeah, you can join. Yeah. It's not like on
We have a
YouTube.
YouTube channel, so if you can post it there, we have a.
Anytime. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that Doug didn't mention, which is a big part of your job, and actually, hopefully you don't hire a director very often, and you do a budget really once a year, but policy is something that you do almost every single month. And so we bring policies to you in draft form, you revise them, provide feedback, and I think that's, if there is a lot of intellectual stimulation in this job, it is around the policies, because you will find that almost all of them, there are implications for a broad swath of the community. And if you like that sort of work and can get into it, then I think there's a lot of reward in it, other than, simply being cool. The policy stuff is hard, and every hard choice that we have to make, I bring to you. I bring to the board. Like, if there's a tough choice, like, we'll have some tonight, right?
Yeah, in the first year, we haven't been. Yeah, because we had the library commission, but this next year and the following 2 or 3 are going to be filled with, regular policy updates, which are going to require you to read and think through some stuff that's going to have an impact on the community, whatever.
Is there
side.
any advisory boards or anything in the works, or is it just the trustees? Or do we look at the foundation for some of that?
We've talked about creating advisory boards for different things. We haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Mainly, we have had community member, like we wanted to get community member input, like we have had community members help with creating our IT system. Actually, that was Andy, and that kind of stuff. So so that is something that we want to work on.
Okay.
We didn't, because of the speed of which we had to work last year, it didn't lend itself perfectly to going out and interviewing people and getting them on. So, and some of it's like, adopting an insurance policy. But for the benefits, for instance, for the employee benefits, Sam and Jennifer conducted we conducted surveys and quite a few things about in feedback sessions with the staff on what do you want, and actually the benefits, I think from what I've heard, is they actually got some pretty decent benefits, and at or a little bit less than what they were paying with the city. So and they were pretty nice. So, and some extra stuff.
And then last month we launched, which was in the strategic plan, the master plan, the community literacy and outreach plan. And so that was done with a lot of community involvement. I think there were an advisory committee. So we had a working advisory committee of about 50 different group, mostly represented by groups, but there were individuals who worked through that process, but a lot of nonprofits, businesses, who else? The school district, the university. There were a lot of people involved in that project, and there were a number of working meetings leading up to its launch, which was just last month. And it's a big
If
deal.
you're interested in looking to see what kinds of policies David was talking about, at the bottom of the library webpage, under the About column,
Mhm.
there's a link to all the current rules and policies.
Okay.
And the board will be cycling through them. I think it's every 3 years you're trying to go through them now. But a lot of them will be coming up in this next year. Jennifer has a schedule already laid out.
Yeah, we have a schedule. It's all laid out.
And is that part of the master plan?
No, that's
Separate. Yes.
really ongoing.
Okay.
You know, it's like rules of conduct and,
Okay.
you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, with the next master plan, I could see, how do we fit in with the East Boulder plan?
Mhm.
And how do we fit in with, other, as the city changes and grows and ages or, whatever, those are all the things that I think, and I'm sure we'll have a line item in the budget that will pay for some of the, like a facilitator and probably someone to kind of run that.
Okay, great.
Because like, obviously it's a lot for staff and we want to do it right, so.
And I was on the commission when the 2018 master plan was done, and the commissioners were very, very involved.
Okay, great.
So,
They will, definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Anything I forgot or?
Is there always?
Nice to meet you.
We usually, since it's over dinner time, I'm more
crew tonight.